Hey everybody, DM Jim here, and welcome to another episode of Game Terrain Engineering. I'm sitting a little further back from the camera today because I've got a larger project to show you that's going to take up a lot of the screen space. In a previous episode, this one right here, I showed you how to make some temporary miniature shelving out of just 3-foot long yardsticks. I guess that's redundant, yardsticks. And this was never meant to be a permanent solution. It doesn't look all that great, but it was just a way for me to put my minis in order so I could see what I had. But for some time now, I've really been wanting to get rid of that and put something up that's a little more inspirational for what the miniatures are used for. So maybe you know where I'm going with this. For the past week, I have been working on something that I'm going to show you in just a second. Very proud of it, but before I show it to you, I want to tell you that this is a project that involves foam, okay, and a 3D printer. Now the 3D printer part, what you're going to see, you don't need a 3D printer. You can totally do this project without the 3D printer. I just used it because I thought it would provide a nice visual element for the center. Okay, but as you see this, keep in mind, I don't want you to fret and go, oh, I don't have a 3D printer. You don't need it. You just will fill that area in with something else. So without further ado, let me show you what I'm going to show you how to make. Here it is. Now the reason I'm being very careful here is part of it's not glued in yet. This is my miniature display. Got it? All right, so let me tell you a little bit about it. It is 4 inches deep, okay? 4 inches deep. And the reason for that is there are 4 different layers to this. This staircase right here is 1 inch wide. That's layer 1. Then behind it, which is this right here, you can't really see it. I'll take some close-up photos at the end of the video so you can see more details. But there's a walkway that goes right, well, you can't really see it, but it's there. Here's another staircase for the second layer. There's one back here for the third layer. And there's even a 4th layer there. And this right here was 3D printed. You may recognize this. It's not done yet. I've got to glue some gems on the eyes. But this is sort of reminiscent of the original Advanced Dungeons & Dragons Player's Handbook. You may recognize the demon face with the bowl. This piece, it's not glued in yet. It's removable. The reason for that is I may be adding some lighting effects to this later, so I didn't want to glue this in until I was 100% sure where I was going to go, because I might need to drill some holes in this. But for right now, it's heavy enough that it sits in here just fine. This is a Fat Dragon Games model. If you're not familiar with Fat Dragon Games, they have a series of tiles called Dragon Lock. And tiles may not be the right word. It's 3D models called Dragon Lock. And most of them are tiles, like floor tiles, wall tiles, things like that. But Tom, over at Fat Dragon Games, he also frequently does these 3-dimensional, items that you would find in a dungeon. And this is just one of my favorites. And I don't remember. I think this is enlarged or shrunk. I can't remember. I think the original file or the actual model is a little smaller, and I enlarged it to fit in that center space right there. So. Now it is painted to match the paint scheme of the surrounding dungeon here, and all of this was given a good solid coating of a dark wash, which you'll see shortly in the next as the video progresses. But I wanted to show this to you up front because how would you like to have one of these for your own? I'm not talking about a contest. It's actually going to be in an auction. In November, I am going to be attending Mace, M-A-C-E. It's the Mid-Atlantic Conference and Expo, or I'll have to look it up. I'll put the link below in the description. I am going to be attending Mace in November. I'm going to play lots of games. I'm bringing some of my own games. I'm going to be DMing some games, maybe 1 or 2. I'm not sure yet. But one of the things they do at Mace is they're going to have a silent auction. And I may be wrong here, but the way I understand it is they're going to have items like this and other items that are sitting out. And at any time, I think it's going to go most of Friday night and all day Saturday, you can walk up, examine what you see, and then you just write down on a slip of paper your bid. And if it's greater than the current bid, I think they'll put your bid out front. So I think that's how it's going to be played out. So I think you'll always know what the highest bid for an item is, so you can decide if you want to try to outbid for it. But this, not this one, I'm making a duplicate of this, and it will be basically this one with the gem eyes. If I can find those red stones, they've been a little tricky to find in the size. And there may be some other additions. Right now I'm 3D printing some doors and some some doors with like prison bars, and those are to be glued in the very back here, just for, just to give it a little more detail. But this right here, what you're seeing, I'm going to make an exact duplicate of this, close enough, for the silent auction. So if you're attending Mace, you will have the chance to bid on this and take one home. I also have got, I'm working with Tom at Fat Dragon Games right now to get on their licensing program so that I can resell Fat Dragon 3D printed models. Like if I print them out, I can sell them. And the reason I'm doing that is because I may make some extra ones of these down the road. So if you're interested, if you want one, shoot me an email at gameterrainengineering@gmail.com and let me know if you're interested. I don't have a price yet. I've got to figure out exactly how much time I've put into this, materials, things like that. The frame was about $8 at a hobby store. That's probably the most expensive thing on here. So anyway, if you're going to be attending Mace, you can try to bid on this. Speaking of Mace, those of you who are attending, I will be DMing a game on Friday night. I think it goes from 9 to midnight. DM Scotty from the DM's Craft, V from the Crafting Muse, and Bill or William from Wylock's Armory. They're going to be joining me as players. But I'm also going to have 3 other seats available. And Mace wants to auction those 3 seats off as well. I don't know how that's going to work. I know the silent auction starts, or the auction starts before the Mace event, so they may have a deadline on that one so that they'll know who the winners are. But if you'd like to come play with Scotty, V, and Bill, and myself as the DM, you'll have a chance if you're attending Mace. So again, I'll put more details below about all that so you can go check it out. So let's get to the actual video, and I'll show you roughly how I made this. I'm going to start with this frame. Now, this is a 20 by 16 inch photo frame. And one thing you need to know about picture frames, I'm going to flip it over here, and I'm going to come in here a little quick. You see this indentation right here? Okay, there's a bigger one right here, and then there's a smaller one. This is where your photo right here along this inner edge is, or painting or whatever, goes, and then you have the backing, or the glass goes down first, I guess. But the 20 by 16 is not from this edge to this edge. It's from this inside edge right here all the way over to this inside edge. Same with the 16. It's from up here, right there, all the way down to right here. So 20 by 16, the frame, it's a little misleading. You have to understand that their measurement is for the glass and photo that will be inserted in. So if you insert a 20 by 16 inch photo, there's actually going to be, this almost a little more than a 1/4 of an inch I guess border that will not be visible on the photo. So you have to keep that in mind. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to build my box from 1/2 inch foam. Okay, so I'm going to cut 2 20-inch pieces that will run here, and then I'm going to subtract off the distance 2 times that little distance there, and that'll give me the length of the 2 sides. I'll glue those together and then probably use some chipboard or something to strengthen the the corners where they meet, and then that will be fitted into here. I have the sides painted in the sponge painting for the gray. I also have the backing and the frame. You'll notice I painted the frame black. What I'm going to do next is I'm going to flip the frame over and I'm going to start gluing these pieces in, not gluing them into the frame. I'm going to use the frame to help me make sure that they are butted up against, the little edge where they'll insert. So there it is. I haven't mounted it yet. I've got to clear off that mess to make space for that one. And of course, that's a big area over there, so I'm probably going to do 2 more. I'm probably going to do 1 more fantasy, and I think I'm going to do a science fiction one to get my Star Wars Legion minis, give them a place to rest. So there it is. I'll give you a close-up here. There you go. I hope you like it. I'm really pleased with how it turned out. Again, I'm probably going to do, I haven't decided, I may do some lighting effects. Up here on the top, the miniatures are a little dark. You can't see them all that well. So because it's all made of foam, the base of it or the surrounding structure of it, it would be really easy to poke some holes and put some LEDs in and do something like that. If I decide to do that, I'll probably end up sharing it with you in a future catch-all video. But I hope you like it. I hope you can duplicate it. Again, come to Mace in Charlotte in November, and you can bid on it, see if you can win it. You can also maybe bid on a seat at a game with me and V, DM Scotty, and Bill. And again, if this is something you're interested in, reach out to me, gameterrainengineering@gmail.com, and maybe I can be convinced to make one for you. Again, I don't have a cost yet on this. I've got to figure out the time, print time, materials, all that good stuff. But if you like it, I'm not against making more in the future. Anyway, this is DM Jim. I'll see you in the next episode.